Private sector mechanism, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair, for giving the private sector the floor to speak on this critically important topic of the need to attract more youth into agriculture and food systems to achieve food and nutrition security for all. I'm the first of 5 speakers with 1-minute intervention each. Our food systems are presently under unprecedented threat from a combination of climate change, environmental degradation, continuing impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, the conflict in Ukraine, and inflationary pressures affecting food and fertilizer prices globally. As a young farmer myself, I can say that young people possesses the level of energy, optimism, and solution-focused thinking that can be harnessed to find collective solutions to these global complex problems. If we are to attract more youth into agriculture and food systems, it is of the utmost importance that we frame the challenges that we face as opportunities for young people to bring transformative solutions in how we produce, transport, process, market, and consume food in ways that minimize the impact of our environment and climate.
Yeah. The most significant barriers to entry for youth into agriculture and food system is undoubtedly a lack of access to financial service products, specifically tailored to young people who may not have access to land, infrastructure, or collateral to obtain the necessary finance to take an innovative idea that can produce a solution to the problems my colleague just confirmed. While advances have been made in areas to increase financial service for youth, they currently do not go far enough. Further work is needed to remove policies that prevent crowdfunding and to develop collateral-free and low-interest loan targeting youth, along with the educational program that can provide business advisory services and increase financial literacy for young people. We must also recognize that governments, civil society, and the private sector must work together to develop products that de-risk lending and borrowing costs for financial institutions engaging with young people and entering agriculture and food system.
Two of the greatest problems our food systems currently face are environmental degradation and climate change. And far too frequently, agriculture is framed as part of the problem to these global issues, when in fact, it's a key part of the solution. And as my colleague pointed out earlier, young people want to be part of the solution to these problems, which is something I see firsthand as a Canadian beef farmer. As such, it's critical that we start recognizing that ecosystem services that agriculture provides. Transformation of our food systems towards carbon neutrality and a lower ecological footprint will require a wide range of innovative approaches which will build upon agriculture's existing ability to sequester carbon, improve soil health and water health, and increase biodiversity within food production systems. Young people today are living in a globally connected society with access to ever greater amounts of open source information, technology, and knowledge. And it's only through recognizing that agriculture is part of the solution towards improved global ecosystems that we can hope to attract the best and most innovative young minds to achieve this.
We are, sadly, increasingly hearing that the world is falling behind on achieving the vision set out in the SDG 2030 agenda, specifically on SDG 2, Zero Hunger. While this is devastating news for the hundreds of millions of people who are currently food insecure, it must also be remembered that the world's greatest problems are also the world's greatest opportunities. Globally, all agricultural enterprises are continually making improvements in how they produce or operate in ways that advance SDGs every single day. However, we have far too little data on what those contributions are, and therefore lack the ability to identify scalable opportunities that can make the rapid progress needed. Nothing creates entrepreneurship as much as a challenge. And if we are to regain momentum on the 2030 agenda, then we must create enabling environments that encourage young entrepreneurs working in agriculture and food systems to bring new products and services to the market in faster and more efficient ways.
My colleague made an important point, that young people are more connected and have more information and knowledge available to them than ever before in human history. The difference between success or failure in achieving the SDGs will in large part come down to the how effectively young people today can access that technology, information and knowledge. The primary reason that our food systems are currently facing a demographic crisis is the migration of youth from rural areas to cities. Increasing the connectivity of services for youth in rural areas is one important measure that may help stem this crisis. To this end, it is critical that governments, the private sector and civil society work collaboratively and invest more in developing the technical skills of the digital services for young people. On behalf of the private sector mechanism, I would like to thank the CFS for undertaking this important work stream on promoting youth engagement and employment in agriculture and food systems, Ambassador Winbust and his team for their efficient and effective work in leading the negotiations, and reiterate that the private sector is committed to its implementation. The success or failure of our current food systems will be inherited by the youth of today and tomorrow. And as such, we are now calling upon all actors here in the CFS to work with us to ensure that opportunities are increasingly created for youth to actively engage in agriculture and food systems so we can collectively meet the challenges we all face.
Thank you, private sector mechanism. Thank you for your intervention, collective intervention.